The massive view screen on Earth's Global Defense Command Center showed thousands of red dots approaching from beyond Mars' orbit. Admiral Tom Wilson stood with his hands clasped behind his back, his weathered face reflecting the eerie glow of emergency lights. 25 years of military service hadn't prepared him for this moment. "Status report," he called out, his voice steady despite the tension filling the room. "Sir, we count over 3,000 alien vessels," responded Officer Mike Brown from his station. "Their technology is far beyond anything we've encountered before. Our sensors can barely track them." The invasion fleet had appeared 3 days ago, emerging from what appeared to be artificial wormholes near Jupiter. They had made no attempts at communication, destroying 2 research outposts on Europa without warning. Their message was clear: they hadn't come to talk. Earth's combined defense fleet numbered only 800 ships. They were the best humanity had built, representing 30 years of technological advancement since first contact with peaceful alien races. But everyone in the command center knew it wouldn't be enough. "All stations, battle positions," Wilson ordered. "I want every ship in defensive formation around Earth and Luna. We hold the line here." The room erupted into controlled chaos as officers relayed commands. On the massive screen, blue dots representing Earth's ships moved into position, forming a protective barrier around humanity's homeworld. Military bases across the planet activated their surface-to-space weapon systems, and civilian populations headed to underground shelters. "Sir, receiving emergency transmission from Luna Base 1," called out Communications Officer Linda Reed. Her fingers flew across the holographic interface as she processed the incoming data. "They're detecting something strange." Wilson turned toward her station. "To find strange, Officer Reed. Unknown energy signature appearing near the dark side of the moon. It's massive, sir. Bigger than anything we've ever recorded." The main screen shifted to show the lunar surface. A point of light appeared, growing rapidly into a swirling vortex of blue-white energy. The assembled officers watched in stunned silence as something emerged from the anomaly. "Good Lord," Wilson whispered. The ship that appeared dwarfed everything in Earth's fleet. It was at least 5 kilometers long, its hull a dark material that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. The design was unlike anything they'd seen before, not quite human, but somehow familiar. Angular sections transitioned smoothly into curved surfaces, giving it an almost organic appearance despite its clearly artificial nature. "Get me readings on that vessel," Wilson demanded. "Sir, its power signature is off the charts," reported Chief Engineer Paul Thompson. "The energy output is, sir, it's greater than our entire fleet combined. But there's something else. We're detecting writing on the hull." "Writing? What kind?" "It appears to be Latin, sir. Ancient Earth Latin." Wilson's eyes narrowed. "That's impossible. Put it on screen." The display zoomed in on a section of the mysterious vessel's hull. There, clearly visible in letters 20 meters tall, was text that made every officer in the room catch their breath. "Vindictatis. Vengeance of Humanity," translated Officer Reed quietly. Before anyone could respond, the alien fleet accelerated, clearly detecting the new arrival. Their formation shifted, hundreds of ships breaking off to approach the mysterious vessel. "Sir," Brown called out urgently, "the unknown ship is powering up weapons systems. Energy readings are beyond anything in our database." The Vindicta moved with impossible grace for its size. Points of light appeared along its hull, and then space itself seemed to twist. Where the light touched, alien ships simply ceased to exist. No explosions, no debris. They vanished as if they'd never been there at all. The alien fleet retaliated immediately. Thousands of energy beams converged on the mysterious ship's position. Everyone in the command center held their breath, expecting to see the massive vessel torn apart. Instead, the attacks seemed to pass through it, as if it weren't there at all. "That's some kind of defense system we've never seen before," Thompson said, his voice filled with awe. It's like the ship exists slightly out of phase with normal spacetime. The Vindicta's counterattack was devastating. Waves of energy rolled out from its hull, and wherever they passed, alien ships disappeared. In less than 5 minutes, a third of the invasion fleet had been eliminated without a single successful hit against the mysterious vessel. "Sir," Reed called out, her voice shaking slightly. "We're receiving a transmission from the unknown ship. Sir, it's in English." Wilson straightened his uniform. "Put it through." A voice filled the command center, speaking in clear, unaccented English. "Earth Defense Command. This is the temporal warship Vindicta. We stand ready to assist in planetary defense. Please coordinate your fleet's movements with our tactical systems to maximize combat effectiveness." The room fell silent. The voice was artificial but somehow warm, almost familiar. Wilson took a deep breath before responding. "Vindicta, this is Admiral Wilson. We appreciate your assistance, but I need to know who you are and where you came from." There was a pause before the response came. "Admiral, full disclosure of our origins would create dangerous temporal paradoxes. For now, know that we are humanity's guardians, sent to ensure Earth's survival at this crucial moment. The enemy you face would have destroyed human civilization without our intervention. We cannot allow that future to manifest." Wilson looked at the tactical display, where the alien fleet was regrouping, clearly reassessing their strategy. He had 1,000 questions, but there was no time for them now. Sometimes, he realized, you had to trust your instincts. "Very well, Vindicta. What do you need from us?" "Maintain your defensive positions around Earth. We will handle the primary engagement, but some enemy vessels may attempt to slip through. Your fleet must be ready to intercept them. Together, we will ensure humanity's future." Wilson nodded, then turned to his officers. "You heard our ally. Battle stations, everyone. Today we make history, one way or another." As the command center burst into renewed activity, Wilson watched the mysterious ship move to engage the main alien fleet. Whatever the Vindicta was, wherever it had come from, one thing was clear: humanity was no longer alone in this fight. And somehow, Wilson suspected, this was only the beginning of a much larger story. Commander James Miller hadn't slept in 36 hours. After the Vindicta's dramatic arrival and the decisive battle that followed, Earth's military leadership needed answers. As the head of Special Operations and Tactical Assessment, he was chosen to lead the investigation team. The shuttle carrying Miller and his small crew approached the massive warship, which now hung in space near Luna Base 1. Up close, the vessel's hull seemed to shift and move, despite being clearly solid. The surface appeared almost liquid, like mercury in zero gravity, yet maintained its rigid form. "This is Investigation Team Alpha requesting permission to dock," called out their pilot, Officer Mark Wells. The response came instantly, in that same oddly familiar artificial voice they'd heard during the battle. "Permission granted. Investigation Team Alpha. Please proceed to Docking Bay 3. Our internal atmosphere has been adjusted to Earth standard conditions." As they approached the designated bay, massive doors slid open with impossible smoothness. The docking bay inside could have easily held 3 Earth battleships. Their shuttle, designed to feel spacious, looked like a toy in comparison. "Look at the material composition of these walls," said Dr. Robert Hayes, their science specialist, staring at his handheld scanner. It's not registering as any known element or alloy. The atomic structure keeps changing." The shuttle touched down softly on the deck. Miller led his team out, accompanied by Hayes, Lieutenant Emma Walker, their language and history expert, and 2 armed security officers. The air inside was perfect, exactly Earth normal in temperature, pressure, and composition. "Welcome aboard the Vindicta," the ship's voice echoed through the vast chamber. "You may proceed through the main corridor. I will guide you to the command center." Miller exchanged glances with his team before moving forward. The corridors they walked through seemed to adjust their size as they moved, always maintaining comfortable proportions. Lights appeared ahead of them and dimmed behind them, creating an efficient path of illumination. The architecture, Walker said quietly, running her hand along a wall. It's human. Not like our current ships, but it follows human design principles. These corridors are meant for human use. Correct, Lieutenant Walker, the ship responded. I was designed and built by humans, for humans. But when? Miller asked. And where? We don't have technology even close to this. Those questions involve temporal complexities that must be addressed carefully, the AI replied. However, I can confirm that my construction date, from your current perspective, lies approximately 1,000 years in your future. The team stopped walking. Hayes almost dropped his scanner. You're from the future. That's impossible. The temporal paradoxes alone would be catastrophic if not properly managed, the AI interrupted, which is why my creators developed specific protocols for this mission. I can share only what will not endanger the timeline. They reached what was clearly a command center, though unlike any they'd seen before. The room was circular, with displays that seemed to float in midair. Some showed views of space around the ship, others displayed data in languages Miller didn't recognize, and a few appeared to be running calculations so complex they made his head hurt to look at them. Please, take seats, the AI said, and chairs emerged seamlessly from the floor, perfectly positioned for each team member. I understand you have questions. I will answer what I can. Miller sat down, noting how the chair adjusted perfectly to his body. Let's start with the basics. Why are you here? The alien force you encountered today was the first wave of what would have become a devastating invasion. In the original timeline, Earth fell within 3 days. Humanity survived in scattered colonies, but at a terrible cost. My mission is to prevent that future. But why send just one ship? Walker asked. Even with your advanced technology, wouldn't a fleet be better? An excellent question. The temporal translation process, what you might call time travel, requires enormous energy. Additionally, moving multiple large objects through time creates dangerous spatial distortions. One ship was the optimal solution. Hayes was still scanning everything in sight. Your technology. It's not just advanced. It's like magic. These energy readings suggest you're manipulating fundamental forces we barely understand. Your assessment is accurate, Dr. Hayes. My systems utilize principles of quantum mechanics, gravitational manipulation, and dimensional physics that won't be discovered for centuries. However, my designers ensured that my basic functions could be understood and controlled by current-era humans if necessary. Miller leaned forward. What do you mean, if necessary? The AI's tone shifted slightly, becoming more serious. There is a non-zero probability that I may be destroyed or disabled in future engagements. In such an event, Earth's defense forces must be prepared to continue the fight. I am authorized to provide limited technological assistance to accelerate your defensive capabilities. Suddenly, alarms blared through the ship. Displays shifted to show a new threat. The remaining alien vessels had regrouped and were moving to attack again. I apologize, the AI said, but we must cut this meeting short. The enemy is attempting a new strategy. They've adapted their weapons based on our previous encounter. Miller stood up. We should return to our shuttle. Actually, Commander, I would request that you and your team remain. Your presence here could be valuable as I coordinate with Earth's forces. Additionally, this will be an excellent opportunity to demonstrate more of my capabilities. The displays show the alien fleet approaching in a new formation. Their energy signatures had changed, suggesting modified weapons. The Vindicti systems were already analyzing the changes, running countless simulations in seconds. Commander Miller, the AI said, would you like to see how a warship from humanity's future fights? Miller looked at his team. Hayes was already deeply engaged with a technical display. Walker was studying the various language interfaces, and even the security officers looked more intrigued than nervous. He smiled slightly. "Show us what you can do." The command center came alive with activity. Displays expanded, showing multiple battle scenarios simultaneously. The ship's systems were plotting not just the immediate battle, but dozens of possible outcomes extending hours into the future. Initiating temporal combat protocols, the AI announced, preparing to demonstrate why humanity remains undefeated in my era. As the alien fleet approached, Miller and his team watched in awe as humanity's most mysterious warship prepared once again to defend Earth. Whatever happened next, he knew they were about to witness something unprecedented in military history, and perhaps get a glimpse of humanity's incredible future. The alien fleet's new formation looked like a giant arrow aimed at Earth's heart. Commander Miller watched from Vindicta's command center as the enemy ships approached, their weapons glowing with an ominous purple light that hadn't been present in the previous battle. They've modified their weapons to operate on multiple phase frequencies, the ship's AI explained. Clever. They're trying to overcome our defensive systems. Dr. Hayes stared at the readings on his display. These energy signatures, they're attempting to match the frequency of your hull's quantum field. Correct. In simpler terms, they're trying to ensure their weapons can hit us, regardless of which dimension we shift to. The AI's voice carried a hint of what almost sounded like amusement. However, they're working from incomplete data. The command center's displays shifted, showing complex calculations that made Miller's head spin. Lieutenant Walker, who had been studying the ship's various interfaces, pointed at a particular set of symbols. Those markings, they're similar to ancient Earth mathematical symbols, but they're evolved, more complex. Indeed, the AI confirmed. Mathematics itself evolved significantly over the centuries. What you're seeing is the language of quantum temporal mechanics. And right now, it's telling us something very interesting about our opponents. Before anyone could ask what that meant, the alien fleet opened fire. Thousands of purple energy beams lanced toward the Vindicta. This time, instead of passing through harmlessly, they seemed to connect with the ship's hull. "Hit confirmed," one of the security officers shouted. But Miller noticed something odd. The ship hadn't shaken. There was no damage alert. In fact, the AI seemed to be waiting for something. "Watch," it said simply. The purple energy beams remained connected to the ship's hull, but now something strange was happening. The energy was flowing back along the beams, traveling back to the alien vessels. They created a quantum connection to bypass our defenses, the AI explained. Unfortunately for them, they didn't realize this connection works both ways. Initiating temporal feedback loop. The alien ships suddenly began to age. Decades of wear appeared in seconds. Metal corroded, energy systems failed, and entire sections of their fleet began to break apart. "You're sending time itself back along their weapon beams," Hayes whispered in awe. A simplified explanation, but essentially correct. They tried to match our quantum frequency. In doing so, they made themselves vulnerable to temporal manipulation. The remaining alien ships quickly cut power to their weapons, but the damage was done. Nearly half their fleet was now drifting, dead in space, or falling apart from centuries of artificial aging. "Fascinating defensive strategy," Miller said. "But why show us this? Isn't revealing future military tactics dangerous?" The AI's response was interrupted by a new alert. One of the displays shifted to show something unexpected. A message being broadcast from the alien fleet, in English. "Temporal Warship Vindicta." A harsh, mechanical voice called out. "Your presence here confirms our calculations. The humans survive in the future. This is unfortunate." Miller watched as the command center's displays filled with new data. The AI was analyzing the transmission, running it through countless filters and detection systems. "They know about you," Walker said. "About where you're from. How is that possible?" "Because," the AI replied, its tone now deadly serious, "they are also time travelers. Though from a different possible future, one where they eventually defeated humanity. I suspected this might be the case, but needed confirmation. The alien transmission continued. We traveled back to ensure our victory, to prevent humanity from becoming what they become in your timeline. The species that ends our dominion over 3 galaxies. The race that undoes 10,000 years of our empire's work. Miller felt a chill run down his spine. In your future, humanity becomes that powerful. Yes, the AI replied. Which is why they're here. They discovered time travel technology and decided to change history. But they weren't the only ones to make this discovery. Human scientists detected their temporal incursion and sent me back to prevent their interference. A time war, Hayes breathed. We're in the middle of a time war. More accurately, you are at the focal point of a temporal conflict, a nexus moment in human history. The next few hours will determine not just Earth's future, but the nature of reality itself. The alien fleet was regrouping again, but this time something was different. Their ships were changing, transforming. Metal flowed like water as their vessels reconfigured themselves. They're adapting, the AI announced. Drawing on technology from their own future, we must respond in kind. Commander Miller, I'm going to show you something few humans in your era have seen. The full combat capabilities of a Type II civilization's warship. The Vindicti's hull began to shift. Throughout the massive vessel, systems that had been dormant came online. The ship's energy signature tripled, then quadrupled. Dr. Hayes, please monitor the quantum variance readings. Lieutenant Walker, I need you to track the temporal distortion patterns. Commander Miller, I suggest you take command of the tactical display. The next phase of this battle will require human intuition combined with future technology. Miller stepped forward, watching as the tactical display reconfigured itself to match his thought patterns. He could feel the ship's systems connecting with his mind, offering suggestions, showing possibilities. The future of humanity, the AI said, was never about just technology. It was about the unique human ability to adapt, to think in ways other species cannot. That's why I was designed to work with human commanders, even from your era. Together, we're about to show these time travelers why humanity's future is inevitable. Around them, the command center hummed with power as the Vindicti prepared for what might be the most important battle in human history, one that would determine not just who won or lost, but which future would become reality. The alien ships completed their transformation, turning into sleek, predatory forms that seemed to bend the light around them. Commander Miller watched as the tactical display updated with new threat assessments. The enemy vessels now appeared to exist in multiple places simultaneously, making them nearly impossible to track. They're using quantum superposition technology, the Vindicti's AI explained. Each ship exists in several possible states at once. Traditional weapons would be useless against them. So how do we fight something that's everywhere and nowhere? Miller asked, his hands hovering over the tactical controls that had synchronized with his thoughts. We don't fight the ships themselves, the AI replied. We fight the probability of their existence. Dr. Hayes, please monitor the quantum probability field. Hayes adjusted his instruments, watching as new data streams appeared. These readings, they're showing the likelihood of each ship's position in spacetime. Correct. Commander Miller, you'll notice the tactical display now shows ghost images around each enemy vessel. These represent their probable locations. Your task is to predict which position they'll collapse into when they attack. Miller studied the display. The ghost images shifted and moved, but he began to notice patterns. The aliens weren't moving randomly. They were following attack algorithms, complex but not impossible to predict. Lieutenant Walker, the AI continued, please monitor the temporal wake patterns. The enemy ships leave ripples in time as they move. These can help us predict their actions. The alien fleet suddenly accelerated, their quantum ghost images blurring into streaks of possibility. Multiple weapons fired from multiple possible positions, creating a web of destructive energy that no normal ship could hope to evade. But the Vindicti wasn't normal. Under Miller's guidance, the massive warship moved with impossible grace. Rather than trying to dodge all the attacks, it shifted partially out of phase with regular spacetime at precisely the moments when the enemy fire would have hit. "Good instincts, Commander," the AI praised. "You're learning to think in 4 dimensions." Miller didn't respond, too focused on the battle. He could feel the ship's systems merging with his natural tactical ability, creating something greater than either human or machine alone. The display showed him probabilities, and his gut told him which ones would become reality. "Sir," one of the security officers called out, "Earth's defense fleet is moving to assist." "No," Miller shouted. "Tell them to stay back. Their weapons won't work against these ships, and they'll only get in our way." The AI sent the message while simultaneously charging its main weapon systems. The hull began to pulse with a deep blue light that seemed to draw in the darkness of space itself. "Commander," the AI said, "I'm giving you control of our primary temporal lance. This weapon doesn't just destroy targets, it erases their probability of existence across multiple timelines." The tactical display updated, showing new firing solutions. Miller's mind raced as he processed the possibilities. The enemy ships were fast and existed in multiple states, but their attack patterns followed certain rules. If he could predict where they would be. "Dr. Hayes," Miller called out, "what happens to a quantum superposition if you change the past that created it?" Hayes looked up from his readings. "It would collapse instantly. The superposition can't exist if its origin point is removed." "Exactly," Miller said, a plan forming in his mind. "AI, can we target the temporal wake instead of the ships themselves?" "Ingenious," the AI replied, and Miller could have sworn he heard pride in its artificial voice. "Targeting systems reconfiguring now. Lieutenant Walker, please assist in tracking the temporal wake patterns." The enemy fleet split into 3 groups, each one existing in multiple quantum states. They were trying to overwhelm the Vindicta's defenses by attacking from different points in spacetime simultaneously. Miller waited, watching the patterns of probability shift and flow. The tactical display merged with his intuition, showing him not just where the ships were, but where they had been and would be. The temporal wake patterns became clear, trails of disturbed spacetime that all led back to the same origin point. "Now," Miller commanded. The Vindicta's temporal lance fired. Instead of targeting the enemy ships directly, the weapon struck the point in spacetime where all their temporal wakes converged. The effect was immediate and devastating. Reality seemed to shudder. The quantum ghost images of the enemy ships suddenly snapped into single locations as their superpositions collapsed. Without their temporal technology, they were just advanced alien ships, dangerous, but no longer impossible to fight. "Their temporal shielding is down," the AI announced. "They can no longer maintain quantum superposition. Earth's defense fleet can now engage effectively." Miller watched as Admiral Wilson's ships moved in, their conventional weapons now able to hit the solidified enemy vessels. The Vindicta's own weapon systems opened up, no longer holding back. "Enemy vessels attempting emergency temporal jump," Walker reported, studying the readouts. "They're trying to escape through time." "Not this time," Miller said. "AI, can we lock them in the present?" "Temporal anchors deployed," the AI confirmed. "They're trapped in this time period. No more jumping, no more quantum tricks." The battle that followed was brief but intense. Without their future technology, the alien ships fell quickly to the combined fire of Earth's fleet and the Vindicta's advanced weapons. Within minutes, the last enemy vessel had been destroyed. The command center fell quiet except for the soft hum of the ship's systems. Miller sat back in his chair, suddenly exhausted but satisfied. "We did it," Hayes said quietly. "We actually won." "The battle, yes," the AI replied. "But there's more to come. This was just the first engagement in a much larger conflict. The enemy will try again, perhaps at different points in Earth's history. Then we'll be ready," Miller said firmly. "This ship, this crew, we proved we can fight them, no matter what point in time they target." "Yes," the AI agreed. That's exactly why I was sent back. Not just to win one battle, but to prepare humanity for what's coming. To show you what you're truly capable of. The displays showed Earth's fleet approaching the Vindicta, no doubt full of questions about what had just happened. Miller knew this was just the beginning. They had won the first battle in a war that would span not just space, but time itself. And somehow, he knew that humanity would be ready for whatever came next. 3 days after the battle, Commander Miller stood in the Vindicta's newly revealed archive chamber. The room was filled with holographic displays showing countless possible futures, each one a path humanity might take. Lieutenant Walker and Dr. Hayes worked nearby, studying the vast database of human history, both past and future. These records, Walker said, her voice filled with wonder, they show humanity spreading across the galaxy. We establish peaceful contact with dozens of species, create technologies that seem impossible, and eventually become guardians of multiple galaxies. And that's exactly why they tried to stop us here, Miller replied, watching a display that showed Earth's colonies spreading across the stars. They saw what we would become and decided to prevent it. The ship's AI joined the conversation. What you're seeing is just one possible future, the one I come from, but it's not guaranteed. The enemy's attack created temporal instability. The future is in flux. Hayes looked up from his readings. That's why you're showing us all this, isn't it? You're not just here to defend Earth. You're here to guide us toward that better future. Correct, Dr. Hayes. The temporal war isn't over. The enemy will try again, targeting different points in Earth's timeline. But now humanity knows what's coming. You can prepare. Miller touched one of the displays, watching as it showed the construction of the first faster-than-light ship. How much of this technology can you share with us? I am authorized to provide specific advances that will help Earth defend itself. Nothing that would drastically alter the timeline, but enough to give humanity a fighting chance. The quantum shields you saw in battle, for instance, your scientists can begin developing those now. The chamber's main display suddenly activated, showing Admiral Wilson approaching the Vindicta in a diplomatic shuttle. The time had come for difficult decisions about Earth's future. Commander Miller, the AI said, the Admiral will want answers. How much should we tell them? Miller thought carefully. Everything. If we're going to face more temporal attacks, Earth's leaders need to understand what they're dealing with. No more secrets. The archive chamber's doors opened, and Admiral Wilson entered, accompanied by representatives from Earth's major nations. Their faces showed a mixture of awe and concern as they took in the holographic displays of humanity's possible futures. Gentlemen, ladies, Miller greeted them. Welcome to humanity's legacy. What you're about to learn will change how you see everything. Our past, our present, and most importantly, our future. Over the next few hours, Miller and his team explained everything they had learned. The temporal war, the enemy's attempts to prevent humanity's rise, and the future that was possible if Earth's nations worked together. The AI provided proof, showing records and demonstrations that left no doubt about the truth of their claims. So what happens now? Admiral Wilson asked finally. Do you stay here, protecting us from more attacks? No, the AI replied. My presence here has already caused significant temporal disturbance. I must return to my own time soon. But before I go, I will help you lay the groundwork for Earth's defense. The AI's displays shifted, showing technical specifications for advanced defensive systems that current-era humanity could begin developing. These plans will accelerate your technological progress by approximately 50 years, without causing dangerous temporal paradoxes. The rest you must achieve on your own. But how will we know if we're on the right path? One of the representatives asked. How can we be sure we're moving toward that better future? Miller stepped forward. We already know we can do it. We've seen humanity at its best, not just in these records, but in battle. When we worked together, combining human intuition with advanced technology, we were unbeatable. That's our future. The AI's voice carried a note of approval. Commander Miller is correct. The enemy's greatest mistake was underestimating humanity's ability to adapt and grow. They thought by attacking your past, they could prevent your future. Instead, they've only made you stronger. Over the next few days, the Vindictae shared what it could: defensive technologies, scientific principles, and warnings about future threats. Earth's nations, faced with proof of both danger and opportunity, began working together in unprecedented ways. On the day the Vindictae prepared to return to its own time, Miller stood in the command center one last time. The ship had become more than just a vessel to him. It represented humanity's potential, a glimpse of what they could achieve. The temporal wake is forming, Hayes reported, checking his instruments. They'll be able to return to their time soon. Remember, the AI said, what you've seen here is just the beginning. Humanity's greatest achievements lie ahead. But the path to that future must be earned, not given. Walker, who had spent days studying the ship's records, smiled. We won't let you down. The future we saw, we'll make it happen. I know you will, the AI replied, because you already have, in my timeline. The temporal war isn't over, but humanity is ready now. You know what's coming, and more importantly, you know what you can become. The ship's engines began to power up, temporal energy swirling around its hull. Miller and his team prepared to leave, but the AI had one final message. Commander Miller, remember this. The greatest weapon humanity possesses isn't technology or temporal manipulation. It's hope, the ability to see a better future and work to make it real. That's what the enemy feared, and that's what they can never take away. As Miller's team departed, they watched from Earth as the massive ship prepared for its temporal jump. The Vindictae's hull began to glow with that familiar blue-white energy, growing brighter until it was painful to look at. In a flash of light that seemed to bend reality itself, humanity's mysterious guardian vanished, returning to its own time. But it left behind more than just advanced technology and warnings of future threats. It left behind proof that humanity's potential was limitless. Miller stood at the observation window, watching the spot where the ship had disappeared. Earth's defense fleet hung in orbit nearby, already being upgraded with the new technologies they had learned. Below, nations that had once been rivals were working together, preparing for whatever challenges time itself might bring. The most mysterious warship in history had come and gone, but its impact would be felt forever. Humanity now knew its destiny, not just to survive, but to become guardians of peace across multiple galaxies. The path would be difficult, full of challenges and temporal wars, but they were ready. The future was waiting, and humanity was finally prepared to meet it.